Hi, I'm Rozlyn Warren, and welcome to the Dare to Thrive Circle. Prepare for your pivot. We are all experiencing unprecedented change. Everywhere we look, something has shifted. And while this could freak us out, as spiritual visionaries, we know there's a higher purpose to what could otherwise seem like just normal run amok. And so, let me ask, how are you feeling? Many of us are feeling off, out of sorts, like we're seeing that things that used to work just aren't working anymore. And if we aren't aware, we can decide that we just have to push and work harder, which, friends, is never the answer source would give. So, what if the disconnected, off feeling is nothing more than a gentle nudge for you to shift direction? I know it can be scary when everything you have built feels as if it is begging you to just burn it down. And while that may be true for some, the pivot you're being guided to is usually not that drastic or dramatic. I wanted to dive deeper into this idea, and I've brought together an amazing visionary entrepreneurs who have each made a pivot in their lives to share their experiences with us. And today we're chatting with Julie C. Butler. Julie is a 40-something Canadian wife and mama of two witty boys and two fur babies. She started her business as a self-taught portrait photographer over 13 years ago. She's a simple country girl at heart, but's been living in the city for 20 plus years. She's a creative being who loves gardening and all things pink, a girl after my own heart. She loves mornings and lattes and is overall a pretty happy and positive person, seeing life as a gift. She feels incredibly grateful and happy to be living her life in her yoga pants. Her mission is to help female entrepreneurs who are in love with what they do build and grow their businesses so that they can achieve a level of success that goes above and beyond by creating irresistible, high converting brands that let them connect with their dream clients. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
I am excited. So I asked you to be a guest today because I followed the rise of your amazing business and was intrigued by your total rebrand. And I want to know the inside scoop. I also know that you follow your intuition and are guided by your mission and how that worked in to your rebrand.
Yes. One thing that I always like starting with is that I think we've all done this, but I think like as women, especially, I think we spend too much time analyzing, overthinking stuff and, the different things and waiting until this or that before we get started and all that good stuff. But one thing that I've gotten good at is just letting myself be guided by what I'm truly passionate about and what I feel inspired by, and also stop over analyzing and overthinking stuff, right? So that's like so important, because we spend way too much time over analyzing on stuff that I think we care more about than actually other people care about.
I agree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what brought about this idea to rebrand?
So I think like we've known each other now for a few years. And if I think back on my journey, I think that I've rebranded a few times. But the thing that I want to say is that I'm not afraid of rebranding if it's what feels right and if I feel called to doing that. So a few years ago, so I'm a photographer first. That's what I became a photographer about. I think now I'm going on 15 years. And
Mhm.
I have to mention, not 2 fur babies anymore, but 3.
There's a new baby.
The new baby. And this is why I'm in my son's bedroom right now, because they were having a party while I was having a meeting. So, so I've retreated. But the thing about it is that I was a photographer first, and I knew I wanted to take my business to that next level. And I wanted to have an online international business. And God, especially with what's going on in the world right now, right? And so I knew that I couldn't achieve that being a service-based business, a local service-based business, right? And also the thing is when you do something service-based, one-on-one, and you overdo it, your passion doesn't become your passion. Like your passion stops being your passion, right?
Mhm.
And so that happened to me before, where I overdid photography and I had a little bit of a burnout, if you want to call it, but I didn't pick up my camera for like 6 months. But that was years ago, long history. But I knew I wanted I wanted an online international business. And so that's how I came up with Stock by Jules. So Stock by Jules is an idea that came to me because I love doing photography of female entrepreneurs working their business and that kind of stuff. And so I'm like, why don't I create a stock photo membership? I'll call it Stock by Jules. And that's going to be my business that's going to take me to that next level. And so Stock by Jules was born. And so I still had the photography. Of course, that's local. People know me in Ottawa for Julie C. Butler photography. But the Stock by Jules is my new identity, if you want, of having a stock photo membership. Now, while I was doing, like, I have the stock photo membership, I'm a creative person and my brain just doesn't stop, right? And I'm learning that more and more now. I just get like, I just get ideas all the time. And so I had these ideas, like I need to create courses. I want to serve people more than just giving them stock photos, right? Mm-hmm. So at the time, I didn't really know how that was going to look like, but I didn't overthink it. I just kind of let it go. I surrendered it, and I trusted that when the time came, the right how I was going to put it together was going to come to me. And so this is only about 6 months ago that I made the shift, if that, right? So I created a course. It's Beautiful Business in a Box. And like in my intro, I love helping female entrepreneurs build and grow their business. And amongst other little offers. And I'm like, you know what? Now I know I don't want to be known for Stock by Jules. I want to be known for me, who I am, that person, that face behind the brand, right? So I said, I knew when this all started, though, I'm Julie C. Butler. That's me. I bring that stuff to the table, right? Like, and everything else is like an umbrella. Julie is the umbrella that everything falls under. And so one day it just clicked. It's like, this is what's going to be. My website is Julie C. Butler, and it's about me and how can I serve you, right? And I didn't overthink it. I didn't spend, I bought the URL. I did all the things, and I started creating, and then that's how it became Julie C. Butler instead of Stock by Jules. And honestly, I didn't question it. I just went with it because it felt right.
I love it. Mm-hmm. And as those who've been listening throughout the summit, you're seeing this thread of, I got this idea, I got this inspiration, I got this download, I got this knowing, and I followed it. So a question for me that I want to know, and so I'm assuming there are others who will want to know, you have a business, you're running a local business, it's thriving. Where did the idea that I actually wrote the words down, that an online international business was even something that existed that you would want? It's it's one of those things of, I didn't even know people do that. So how did that's a jump from a business to, I'm just going to be an international name. So, and I absolutely, you can do it, but can you share with people who are like, how do I, oh, here it is. How do I identify what I really want when I don't even really know it exists?
So I think the ideas or the opportunities or the people will come into your life to teach you and show you what is possible. Mm-hmm. And at the time for me, and we haven't spoken about this before, and I don't know that you know this about me, but 11 years ago, when I overdid photography and I was like, I'm out, peace, I can't do this anymore. I actually joined a network marketing company. And I was very successful at it. It was perfect for me at the time it came into my life. I met incredible people. I actually did that for 5 years. And slowly but surely, the artist in me was calling me back. That's why I gave up the network marketing, not because it wasn't a good business model, or like I have so many friends in the industry that are thriving, but because it wasn't what I knew I was meant to be doing anymore. But the network marketing component I learned so much from doing that, from the self-development and the personal, right? Like all the stuff that we need to do in order to thrive in life, and in exchange, we thrive in our businesses. We always have to better ourselves, right? But doing that, and also that network marketing company that I was with was an online international business. Mm-hmm. And so I knew coming out of that I'm like, I can do that with my business as well.
I love, what ran through my mind was that for someone who's here listening to this is the whole reason you're here listening to this particular conversation, is because this is your permission slip that if you can have whatever you want. And I love the way you hold things when you get these ideas, and instead of, like many of us have done in the past, and we learned it didn't work, you don't immediately try to push it or ram it through. But you probably had some clues, and you saw it was possible because this other company did it, but you're going to do it in a whole different venue. So you didn't know how you were going to take a local photography business, but you just said yes. And that is what opens the door for then Source to go drop in the idea. Well, what if you did that? Well, what if I did? So, and I love your point of, we get up in our head and we go immediately to, how am I going to figure that out? And man, that just shuts the door.
Mm-hmm. And Roz, that the how it doesn't concern us, right?
None of our business.
Like, so I don't know if you're listening now. I like the first lesson, if you remember anything from this conversation, is that if you've got a vision and you see what your business can be, don't worry about the how. Because the people, the opportunities, and the things are going to fall in place for you the way they are meant to happen in order for you to achieve that vision, right? The how doesn't matter. And it's probably going to go like something like this, right? And like rebrand here and a rebrand there.
A tweak here and that. And another thing that came up, which I think you have discovered as well, so sharing your experience of this, as we go through life, and you photography, then you had the sales experience, then you had, and in the end, if you will, we end up using everything we ever tried. And so as we're in the middle of things, sometimes we have this tendency to go, I failed. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. What's your experience with all of those pieces that were just stuff you did ending up now being important with what you do?
So here's one thing that I'm very good at. I just don't bother with I don't go back and be like, oh, this it should have been, or it shouldn't have been, or I shouldn't have done that, or I should have done this. I just move on. And I've been really good at that. And I think that every experience that happens to us, whether good or bad, whether you've taken a course and there was nothing in there that served you, or it doesn't matter, because I believe truly that the courses or the opportunities that come in our lives are meant to happen to us for whatever reasons, right? Sometimes we know eventually, sometimes we don't. So I let it go. I surrendered, because I mean, we could spend so much time, right? Like first of all, we're not going backwards, we're going forward. So what does it matter? What have you learned from that experience? And let's move on, right? So I don't spend too much time focusing on the should have or shouldn't haves. And I focus on the future and the possibilities and the dreams that I can make reality through my vision and all of that good stuff. So I think everything that happens is meant to happen, and it's an experience. And we all just have to look at it and be like, okay, what was the gift? What did I learn from that? And sometimes it could be just as simple as, like, I know, like when I join a course, you can be 100% sure I'm going to check out how they've got it set up. Because I'm a nerd like that. I love that stuff, right? So for me, sometimes that's all it was, right? Like if I took a course and I didn't really, but really, I learned so much from the way it was set up and the way it was delivered and the way, right? So we could like spend so much time on things that have or should have and shouldn't have and or should have or whatever, but really, what does it serve?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm such a connector that even if I got nothing out of any of the 955 courses I've taken, I have at least one good friend contact from every single course I've ever done. So it's amazing. And if you haven't learned how to do this yet, you're probably sitting here going, but it's a practice.
It is.
Practice.
And we only get better the more we practice it.
Yes.
Right. And we're all wired differently. For some of us, it's easier than for some, like for others, like if you guys are familiar with the human design and all that good stuff, we all wire differently. And so for some, it's harder than others, but the more we practice, the better we get. And I think the key also is just kind of like going and getting the skills that will help us get through these things and move forward in the right directions, right?
Yes. And one of the things that you said was this idea that you trust that how is going to pull it together will come in the right time. And that's the big operative word to me of what you're talking about, and what we're developing is trust. Trust that a benevolent force somewhere has your back. And this was always for me, trusting yourself. If you got an idea and it is something it won't leave you. One of my clients, she wanted to live in an old home. It would not go away, but I'm perfectly happy where I'm at. And it wouldn't go away, and it wouldn't go away. And now their entire lives have moved because they found this ancient farmhouse, and it is miraculous ridiculous. And the way it all fell together, because she just went, okay, we're having this old house. I don't know where, I don't know how, I don't know anything about it. And so it's learning to trust your intuition, your gut, your downloads, you know, and that whole trust thing. So as we're here looking at the pandemic, kind of press pause for everyone.
On many fronts.
Yes. And it was like the universe said, all right, so what do you really want? So for our listeners who are realizing, ooh, I like that umbrella idea. I want to talk a little bit more about that as well. But where does someone begin for a rebrand? And maybe we even need to define what rebrand means.
So I think that, rebrand you can think rebrand and think, ooh, that's my logo and my colors and all that stuff. And it can be part of it, but it can also be a rebrand of your business, right? And it can also be a rebrand of your website. So I did kind of like a combo. I had a new logo. My colors have always stayed similar though, because I'm a pink girl through and through. I tried doing other colors and it just wasn't working. I wasn't feeling inspired by them. But it can also be a rebrand of your business and who you are. And it can be a rebrand of you're just rebranding your website, right? But I think that I like to kind of like make a visual, but kind of like plan out, okay, what is it that you want your business to look like, right? I knew, so I made like a map literally on a piece of paper. And I was like, I am Julie C. Butler and I am the middle piece. And then I want to have my group coaching program. I'm just going to throw it out there, but coaching. And I want to have my stock photo shop. Mm-hmm. And then I want to have the shop, like, so collections and Canva templates and whatever. So that was like my map. And then from there, I already knew my colors. I'm a very good visual when it comes to logo. I knew what I wanted it to look like, so I just created it. However, if you're looking for a logo, there's so many cheap, like, it's not expensive now to get a logo. You can go on Creative Market, Etsy, and they're super affordable now. Like back in the day, it was like $200, $300, $400, $500 for a logo, right? And so once you have that and you have your color palette, then you can start creating, right? And you can go, okay, so where do I start? Well, I started with Julie C. Butler, right? Because I want people to come to Julie C. Butler. I am the face behind my stuff. And I want people to get to know me, like me, trust me, and then they'll buy from me. And, but I wanted to be that person who can serve you and help you with my things. I come to juliecbutler.com. It's going to be about Julie and then the different offers. So now I have I send my people to the different places via my website. But I also, if I'm promoting my group coaching program, then I'll be a little bit more talking about that in my email and in my social medias. And I mean, that's a whole other training, but.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think start in the heart and trust it, right? Whatever your heart is telling you, Oprah says, ask your heart, it never lies. Absolutely. So I always ask my heart and start from the heart, right? And go from there, take a piece of paper, map it out, like brain dump your ideas. And then, you can go on Pinterest and start, if you don't already have colors, like go and explore Pinterest for the amazing color palettes that are out there. And then just let yourself be guided and go with that.
Now, I know that there's people who are going, I wish it was that easy. So I don't know where to start. So you have a special free gift for the audience, and especially those who are going, I don't know where to start. I don't even hardly know what you're talking about, but I want it. So tell us about your gift.
Okay, my gift. I'm so excited because I think that it's going to help you go into the right direction of branding yourself, but also starting to build at your business in terms of growing that email list that they tell us we have to do, right? So in my gift, I have for you, I have a collection of stock photos so that you can right away start using stock photos in your social media. You can use them on your website, all the things. So Facebook or any marketing. And I also have this amazing guide to help you create a lead magnet that's going to help you build your email list. And you can use the stock photos in there. And also I have also a guide on helping you to show up, right? So you want to, we're doing all these things, but we also have to show up so that people get to know us, right? And that's kind of a key piece that sometimes even I resist, but working on that. Yes, but I created a guide to help you with that. So I also have a short but simple toolkit available for you. And the toolkit is there a list of maybe 20 of the tools that I use in my business every day that are like, for example, an email service provider and, website and designing and stuff like that. So storage and all the things, right? So I have a toolkit for you. So you can grab that.
Oh, that sounds just like what we need. And friends, you can access Julie's Freebie Vault by clicking the button just below this video. And I am eager to discover all the goodies in there myself. Thank you so much, Julie, for sharing your powerful story with us. The possibilities just ooze from you.
Yes, I think that's part of my human design.
Yes, it is. So you have been listening to Rozlyn Warren and Julie C. Butler on the Dare to Thrive Circle, Prepare for Your Pivot. All our interviews are available to watch and enjoy all week long through February the 18th. To ask questions and meet our speakers, join us in our pop-up Facebook group. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, believe everything is possible. Trust yourself and dare to thrive.